lot of different changes on this, and I think that just comes from the maturity of doing it for this long, you know, and trusting each other. You know, it really kind of brought us together as far as like that goes. This is the first time that I had actually brought a complete song in, and the band really dug it, and they went above and beyond for me, man. It was it's something that I think is just going to destroy people when they hear it. It's probably the best song I've ever written.
Which track is that?
That's Snuff.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's, I guess Rolling Stone called that the most melodic of what they heard, and it's an acoustic-based number.
It's acoustic based, but it's I mean, it's very morose. It's very, very, very dark, and it's just about a moment in my life, you know. And it's as melodic and as acoustic as it is, it's also heavy as shit, and it'll touch everyone. Everyone will be able to feel that.
What is that moment?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
That's between me and mine. Let's put it that way.
Fair enough. But I mean, it's true. You know, everyone has this idea that heavy music has to be fast, and every band wants to be heavier than the next band, so they have to have blast beats and they have to have more blinding solos. And some of the heaviest music can be just really melancholy and really slow and acoustic.
I completely agree. I mean, that's some of my favorite stuff, and it's the stuff that comes from that reality and comes from that source of, you know, I mean, you can play, you know, 128 notes all day if you want, but it's not going to have any emotion as far as I'm concerned. It's the stuff where you just break it down to that real soul and get rid of the pretense and get rid of the show off and just bare yourself. That's the stuff that sticks with you, and that's the stuff that really makes you feel like, wow, this I believe in this.
Mm-hmm. Is there any of the stuff that you and Jim did with Stone Sour that maybe impacted the tone or vibe of this, either as a reaction against that or something you learned from doing that somehow went into these sessions?
Not really. Just for me, it was really kind of just where I was in my life. I was going through you know, a lot of shit in my life, and I realized I was out on the road with Stone Sour, and I realized I was like, man, I am gagging. I am absolutely gagging to make a new Slipknot album, and I was so excited that I had that passion that I just started filling notebooks with ideas, and that's really where it came from. I mean, it was no reaction. It was no response really as much as it was, you know, I kind of realized that I was like, man, I just really want to fucking go in and just make a pummeling album. And, you know, I think we did.
Was this a real catharsis for you from the pain that you were going through in your own life?
Oh, very much so. And I'm really, really happy that I got to do it. I'm really glad that I got to do it, to be honest, man. It felt so good to just be able to open up like that and really kind of get back to basics as far as that goes. On Volume 3, I was experimenting with a new, you know, a new vocal style, you know, and trying to do that, but I just realized it's like, man, I'm just not feeling that anymore. So I went back to the old school growl and realized that it hadn't gone anywhere, man. I mean, it's if anything, it's more focused now, and it's more there's a lot more passion in it. You know, there's more conviction in it. And, you know, like I said, man, you combine that with probably the best lyrics I've ever written in my life, it's gonna fuck people's heads up. Let's put it that way.
Do you think you guys benefited from having, you know, taken more than 4 years since the release of Volume 3?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's the bands that have to turn right around and, you know, churn out stuff, or that they don't give themselves time to really, you know, kind of find that different space, that different headspace. And I think, you know, with taking the time and really and finding all the things that we wanted to do and all the things that we wanted to say, I think that really helped us keep people guessing, you know, and keep making just keep going above and beyond what we had done before, and I definitely think that works to our advantage. I'm actually glad that we get to do that.
But if you think back in the day, like in the 60s, bands recorded 2 albums a year. Like, everyone from the Byrds and the Who, and even Straight On Through Rush was doing an album a year, and Priest in the early days. It's just a real different era.
Well, you got to realize that too, man. 30 years ago, there wasn't as much. All that music hadn't been made yet. So you really run the risk of repeating yourself. I mean, in this day and age, when we have all that history, we have all these songs. Why do you think all these punk bands sound the same now? Why do you think all these, hardcore bands sound the same? Not all of them, but most of them. Just because it's already been done. They don't take the time to really try and find something new. They don't take the time to really, find something that's going to jar people. The same rhetoric over and over. For us, it's like, no, that's the death of creation. When you start repeating yourself, then fuck that.
That's a really good point. Because, back then everything was fresh, and now everything is so stale and tired. And it seems like even when you come up with something that's truly innovative, like Volume 3 was a real step for you. But it seems other bands have taken that sound and just kind of ruined it, which, almost makes it impossible for you to return to do that kind of thing, which kind of sucks, because that's what you innovated last time.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like we did it, I mean, for me, I would rather keep breaking new ground than, cutting a path in the same ground that we, started, basically. For me, I think this was the natural progression. It was basically, honestly, I think this album is such a beautiful blend of all the great things that we did with Volume 3, and then all the fucking ground that we broke with Iowa. I think it takes those two things plus the new stuff that we really wanted to experiment with, and it takes it to that whole new level. And for me, I mean, that's what it is. It's exploration. It's evolution. It's it's rejecting what you think you should do and going with what your heart wants to do, and that's to keep it new and to keep pushing yourself and keep challenging yourself.
Yeah, and that's where the true artist kind of lies. Not to make it sound like a pretentious wank fest or anything, but it's it's true. It's the artist who really rejects what's easy and what seems obvious.
Yeah,
to do something totally left of center.
And that's that's something we don't get a lot of credit for, man. We are very artistic people. We don't do anything without there being meaning behind it, and that's the reason that our art has stuck around so long. That's the reason that the first album is still as poignant today as it is. It was back then. It's not just a bunch of images put together because they look cool. I mean, the shit means something to us. We take our art very seriously. And, our real fans, they understand that and they feel that. And that's why they've never left. Even as they've gotten older, they still appreciate what we did, man. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a great feeling, to be honest.
And you kind of expand your following that way too, because you don't abandon, or the old crowd doesn't abandon you, but you're also pulling in a whole new breed of listeners, kids who are discovering rebellion and discovering art and music and aggression and really liberating themselves through that.
Man, I tell you what, it's funny you brought that up. I was just hanging out. I was at the mall one day, and a bunch of kids came running up to me. They were all Slipknot fans, and they couldn't have been 16 or 15 or 16. And we were talking, and I asked them, I was like, you going to come see us when we play? And they're like, absolutely. We've never seen you play live. And I'm like, you what? It was the most insane thing I'd ever had, because I just naturally think that everybody's seen us. I mean, we've been touring for damn near 10 years now. And for me to hear that, it was just like, wow, this is very much generational. I mean, it really is. It's become a lifestyle, but at the same time, there's so much meaning behind it that I'm just very proud, man. As much as I ran my mouth when I was young